All right, last couple challenges for the Losty Forge Puko and the Nugget. We're going to be doing a one stick fire out of this guy for both of them. And then we'll be using these two pieces to create a hearthboard and a spindle. All right, one stick fire is going to be 2 small sticks. For the one stick fire, I normally do the length of my arm from, fingers to about elbow or less. You don't actually need all that much. Perfect. All right, first we got the Puko. We're gonna make, so we got a couple natural splits in here. That one goes right down a knot. This one's on the side of a knot, so we're gonna take advantage of the checking, the split right here to get it started. Absolutely no problem. All right, let's see how the Nugget will do. There is a little split right here, so we'll take advantage of that. This is pushing the Nugget's size, as you can see. No problem. So with the blade this thick, I prefer to actually go down and then split sideways, because smashing your fine edge possibly into a table or a log or a rock doesn't seem very smart to me, and I see a lot of guys do that. So, maybe don't do that kind of thing. I don't know. To each his own. See, you only need to go a little ways down and then split instead of smashing it all the dang way through, right? Maybe not on some thinner blades, depending on the geometry or whatever. Man, we picked a good log. If your knife, depending, fires don't need to look pretty, right? If you're having trouble with feather sticks, you just need feathers to start a fire. I prefer the type of feather that super curls, and for the Nugget here, it needs just the right wood and the right angle, and it's not necessarily as easy as some other woods. Gotta get that angle going. For this particular fire, I'm not looking for pretty feather sticks, just something that'll get the fire going, kind of thing. You can get better curls, even out of a blade that has a very thin and fine edge. But I just need to start a fire, so quick challenge. All right, now switching over to Puko. This thicker Puko blade does really well. I do like it. So before you had feathers, you had fuzz sticks. If you look at the old Boy Scout manuals, they would literally just carve hard into the stick, more like this kind of thing. And it's a lot easier to do, and if you do that on all your kindling like that, it'll go up a lot quicker. So on the more imperfect pieces, we'll just do that to help get it going. This one is a lot easier to do feather sticking with. From what I can tell from the old Boy Scout magazines and books, like feather or fuzz sticks were more of these giant fat curls. I think they were technically the precursor to a feather stick. Tell you what, that works really bloody well. Alright, they are lit. And obviously you'd have more to go with this, but this is just a stick that was about a little smaller than this size, right? By the way, this only took, I don't know, 5 minutes each, you know, 10 minutes with filming kind of thing. Super quick, super easy, and you know, obviously you do maybe a little bit better, but for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call that a win for both. All right, what's left is to make a fireboard and a spindle. I don't need to make a whole set. I have all the other pieces, many of them, so we'll go ahead and give that a go. I'm not sure what this wood is, so this is going to be an experiment if we can get a coal out of whatever this wood is. So let's see. We'll make this our hearthboard and this our spindle. It's going to take a bunch of carving, so it's going to take a minute. Go ahead and get this other one split up with the nugget. We'll get to carving and get back to you. All right, basic hearthboard done. We got the spindle almost done. We're just finishing it off here. So something I've noticed with this particular blade is I was choking up a lot like this because of the handle style. Now I talked to Adam about this blade, and he has modified the newer ones. This is one of his older models, and we don't think that's going to be much of an issue anymore with the new handle style, but we'll find out in the future. So I really like carving with this portion of the blade. Like I said before, it's a pleasure it just rolls off cuts really, really well, and I really like that. It's really enjoyable to use this portion of the blade. You know, this other portion I've been using is fine as well. And because of that thickness and geometry of this particular one, it likes to take off those little curls. And, you know, for fine carving, that's actually kind of nice. It doesn't bite too deep or take too much. So, I know that the nugget might be a little different in that category. But we just need to finish off this end. And then we'll have one set done, and we'll work on the other one. We're getting to work on the nugget set here. Quick. And yeah, it definitely likes to hog off more material quicker, which means we'll get to the initial stage of where we need to be before fine tuning it a little bit. And I don't know, I appreciate the fact of both of these and their different working orders. This one, because of the blade geometry, the chest levers are better. And I've only done a few with each now, but this one definitely works easier with the chest lever as far as the blade is concerned. The handle, I think that's a preference one. Often you find when carving, a piece of wood wants to bend and create kind of a smiley face. If that's the case, you need to take more off of the ends of the smile and then take more off of the curved bit of that smile to keep it going straight. And sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate, and sometimes it's easier to just chop that one end off that's smiling too much kind of deal. But at least for me, I found that's the case a lot of the time. And I don't know if that's because I get too happy carving one section and it throws it out of balance. But one of the biggest tips you can get for bow drills as far as carving the spindle is constantly rotate your work and work on a little section, get a point of view, and then go back to another section that needs more attention. So just take off a little bit of each area, kind of thing. All right, so the Nugget did an excellent job at spindle. Now we're working on hearthboard. Adam did a really good job at a nice thin edge for this guy. Just hogs through stuff. I love it. I'm a little bit ADD and I like to move fast, and this blade allows me to do so. So I'm a big fan of that. All right, so we are officially finished with the sets. We'll give them a go in just a minute. So if you look under here, you see these really, really large shavings that came off the Nugget, and a lot of these finer shavings that are buried under here came off the Puko. I think we'll be working on some revisions of the Puko for blade geometry. I do like this one and how it carves, but it'd be nice to have options, right? So we're gonna work on that. And man, look at some of how thick some of these curls are, these chunks, like almost axe size, you know, coming off of, look at that, coming off the Nugget. So pretty cool stuff.
Nice. Okay, that'll get us going for sure.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Nice black dust. All right, that took a second to carve out because our notch was so, our board's a little bit thicker, and we chose the far side to be safe. Carve out the under section here, give it a little air and then room to build up a bit of the dust. It's gonna take a minute because it's gonna needs to build up a lot of dust to get to that point. A lot of the bow drill is about little micro adjustments constantly. All right, looks like we might have got it. All right, if that's not it, we're gonna we're gonna let the set dry out. But I think we got her, boys. Huge coal. That's enormous. Oh yeah, we'll work for that one. We did it, boys, we did it. Good job, Nugget. Dude, look at that mountain that's coal right there, bro. You can see it standing up quite a bit. One last thing we forgot to test real quick was the sharpness of the spine. I prefer using strikers. I do like having a nice sharp spine as well. These spines, they feel kind of in the medium range as far as that kind of stuff goes. They could be sharper, but they could be duller kind of thing. So they can do it if you need to do scraping. I actually prefer this in between sharpness level, because if it's too sharp, it's not comfortable to put your hand on the edge of the blade. So yeah, they can do scraping. They don't super excel at it, but I don't prefer it to have any sharper preference-wise for me, because that would be a bit of a nuisance on the thumb. So yeah, I think that's perfect. All right, y'all. So this is the final kind of review of these two blades from Losty Forge, the Nugget and the Puko. To be fair, this is an earlier version of his Puko, and and a tester, kind of a tester model. So the future models will be improved, and will have anything that was maybe possible negative that I said throughout the series fixed, and it should be an absolute raring blade to go. So been happy to use both. They both have strengths, and they both have, I want to say weaknesses, because they both will do pretty much anything that I put them through. We did bow drill sets. We just finished those. We did a rungu, we did regular splitting, one stick fire, and a couple other things here and there. Food prep. They don't really super excel in food prep, but generally bushcraft knives, I mean, any knife will get the job done kind of thing, but if you're trying to be a professional chef, you know, out in the woods, it doesn't really matter kind of thing. So they do work in those aspects. The only thing I didn't get to was a fish, gutting a fish. It's kind of an odd season for trout fishing here, transition from summer into fall. So whenever I get around to catching one, we'll give that a try. But yeah, overall, super happy with them, especially with the modifications. Hopefully that we'll be doing, and they should be absolutely phenomenal blades. And I'm happy to be working with Adam. Thanks a lot, buddy. So pluses and minuses, some of the biggest ones I noticed overall were going to be fixed on this model, mostly the handle and a little bit of the blade being pulled back as far as the thinness of the grind, specifically right here closer to the heel. I did notice that I like to kind of choke up right here, which is not super safe. So we'll have to figure that out. With the new handle models, I think that may not be an issue, but I'm not 100% sure, depending on how much of the finger choil section is either straight or maybe recurved in a little further. The tip of this section is awesome to work with. This particular blade likes to work throughout the whole blade, which is super cool. Makes it a joy to slice with. The Nugget is an absolute killer of a little blade. It's a little pry bar basically, and but it excels because he pulled the grind so far back at just hogging off material. Perfect fit for the hand. I didn't find that I needed to, since I can pretty much get to where I need to be on the blade here, I don't really need to choke up on it any further than this little bit of a finger guard here, which is not much of one. You would slide right over it if you were trying to stab into something, so I don't recommend that. So either, I actually like how smooth this is, because I do choke up on that little section sometimes right there. But I found that I could pretty much reach everything I needed to do thumb-wise without moving too much on this particular model because of the blade size. I love the spear point. I think the geometry overall on this particular blade is just absolutely awesome, and super, super, super happy with it. There's no real cons. that I could find to this blade, except maybe there was one time I might have gotten just a little bit of a hot spot doing one particular cut, which I don't even remember what it was now. Yeah, I don't remember. Comfortable to use in chest lever versus front hold kind of deal. This one, this Puko with its particular current design, it was a little bit harder in a chest lever to hog off the material, and I'm thinking that just has to do with that grind. So otherwise, they pretty much excelled in both tasks. I also really enjoyed carrying the sheath, particularly a lot more this arrowhead style than this particular sheath right here. This was just a sheath he threw together, so don't judge the sheath too harshly, just for testing. So I do like this model, this taco style, and I actually don't mind this particular cutoff here. I think it looks fine enough, and it doesn't catch on a whole lot of stuff because of that. So that's pretty nice. This one just being obviously shorter just by a little bit, but I don't know, somehow the profile of this sits a little bit better and moves a little bit better around on the belt. I like having this bigger loop here. Moves around on the belt, positions easier, especially getting in and out of the car where your seatbelt is. Being able to move this around on your belt is pretty useful. So overall, love the blades. Hopefully doing some interesting stuff with the Nugget, which I absolutely love. And see you guys later.